The Denver Broncos quietly just make another great move right before the start of the legal tampering period, launching us into NFL free agency. Kicks off tomorrow. We know that we renegotiated Mike McGlinchey's deal. We got some draft capital for Jerry Jeudy. We got Tim Patrick to take a team-friendly deal. And now we have locked up a safety who we all love in PJ Locke. I'm feeling very good about our competitive reset. I think we are doing the hard things, and so we're kind of pushing that reset, but we're not going to be a bottom dweller next year because I think we're still keeping that talent. We're just shedding a lot of top-end salary. We've seen that over and over in the NFL. Younger teams are the teams that are thriving, and we've seen teams like the Detroit Lions who are just so young yet so talented, and we're starting to build that young talented base, and I'm really, really excited about it. If you're new to this channel, my name is Ben. I break down all things Denver Broncos. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan, and if you are here for it, here for our competitive reset, it would help me out a ton if you would like and subscribe. So let's look at the great news that happened today with PJ Locke and why I'm so high on it. We already know, we've gone over it multiple times on this channel, that PJ Locke is the type of player that everyone in the NFL wants. He is a team-first guy who puts the needs of the team over the needs of himself. He has all the talent and all the pieces there. He stepped in perfectly for Kareem Jackson. I love the idea of him being paired with a Justin Simmons as Justin kind of winded down his career. Here he is on this upswing. The famous story about PJ Locke, which we've gone over multiple times, was that last year, even though the doctors didn't clear him to fly on an airplane because of his, upper respiratory lung problems, he jumped in an RV and did a 20-hour road trip, arriving in Detroit, Michigan, just hours before kickoff. Played an entire game, hopped back in the RV, and drove 20 hours back to Denver. There's just not a lot of guys who would do that. And we got him locked in. He signed today a 2-year, $7 million deal, which, again, we've talked about the run on safeties and how that market was really overinflated and what teams were paying for safeties. And so it's great that the Broncos have him locked in. 2 years, $7 million. He has escalators in his contract that could be up to $9 million, but that is a great team-friendly contract that does not break the bank. Amazing that we have that done. So like I talked about, we now are going to pair him with Cadence Sterns. And you talk about another guy who just has tremendous upside, and his biggest downside was just he couldn't stay on the field because of health concerns. I will never forget one of the most boring games of NFL football I've ever seen was last year. Maybe it's 2 years ago now. It was the Indianapolis Colts against the Denver Broncos on Thursday Night Football. Everyone's texting me like the Broncos are so boring. It was a thrilling matchup between Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson. And you remember there was 2 interceptions of Matt Ryan in that game, and they were both by Caden Sterns. Like, he looked dirty. I mean, dirty in a good way. He looked incredible. And I'm really high if those guys can stay healthy. I don't think there is a tremendous drop-off between Justin Simmons and an older, aging, headhunting safety in Kareem Jackson. You dropping from there to a healthy Cadence Sterns and a PJ Locke who's now been in the Vance Joseph system multiple years, that you got to feel really, really high on that. Other big news that's kind of starting to hit the wire as we now move in tomorrow morning, starting at 9 a.m., is the start of the legal tampering period. So any free agent is now allowed to actually have conversations with outside teams. I'm sure those conversations are happening through agents, but now that actually can happen, and teams can come to verbal agreements starting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We now heard Kirk Cousins told the Minnesota Vikings that he truly is entering into that period, so he could still end up with the Vikings, but all signs are pointing to him ending up elsewhere. His wife and his wife's family lives in a suburb of Atlanta. We know Atlanta is thinking they're just a quarterback away. They've been in the Field sweepstakes. Are they going to end up with Fields or Cousins? Either of those is another team who's not going to draft a quarterback, so that would be great. But there are also rumors that Kirk Cousins could be making a visit to Denver. Not sure how I feel about that. Be interested to hear what y'all think in the comments. One of the things that I saw, I think Tom Pelissero tweeted it, is that there was also rumors that the Broncos were going to make a run at Mac Jones. Mac Jones actually today was traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we will not be ending up with Mac Jones. Still, Kirk Cousins is on the table. And the other one that could be a really interesting thing that you see multiple teams or multiple sources have tweeted as maybe some rumors is, could Sam Darnold be a Denver Bronco? Could he and Jarrett Stidham be competing for that starting job? Not sure, again, how I feel about that. I think, you remember that draft with Baker Mayfield and him and several others that a lot of people were saying he was going to be the first overall draft pick out of USC. And once it came out that the Cleveland Browns were going to be drafting Baker Mayfield, John Elway was calling the Giants GM saying, hey, we'll trade up to number 2, but the Giants really wanted Saquon Barkley, and so they never returned John Elway's call. So Elway really wanted Darnold here. Could someone like Sean Payton feel like, ooh, would I rather have a Sam Darnold or take a swing at whoever's left on the board at 12? I think you probably have a better chance of success at a guy like a Sam Darnold than you do, with a 30 to 45% chance at hitting on a first-round quarterback. So that'll also be interesting to see if the Denver Broncos end up with a free agent quarterback who we think could compete for the starting job. Then that totally changes who we're going to aim for in the draft in just a few weeks. So that's going to be really crazy to see. Other things I'm keeping an eye out for tomorrow is, where's Josie Jewell taking visits? Where is he? Who is he talking with? That's going to help us know, is Josie Jewell coming back? If not, we need to find an answer at linebacker. It sounds like Drew Sanders, they're planning on using him as like an edge rusher. So we truly need another middle linebacker there to go next to Alex Singleton. Also very interested to see what ends up happening with Lloyd Cushenberry. It sounds like he might set the market for center pay, and the Denver Broncos with our cap situations just are not in the type of scenario where we can pay a Lloyd Cushenberry top dollar. So definitely going to be keeping my eyes out for that. Last thing, I just saw this trending on Reddit and thought it was crazy interesting. As we talk about what should the Denver Broncos do in the NFL draft here, there was a lot of people when we picked Patrick Surtain who said, oh, that's so dumb. Like, this is a quarterback league. Above all else, you have to go and get your quarterback. And this was shown from that incredible draft class that had Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and then Zach Wilson. Everyone was like down on the Denver Broncos that we didn't end up with one of those guys. And this is just showing that of all of these guys, you would definitely prefer to have a Pat Surtain. So as we are approaching this April 20th draft, I hope we keep this in mind, that just because a guy has the QB position next to his name does not mean that you sell the farm to go get him, because you could end up with one of these guys on the draft class. And wouldn't we rather have the best corner available than any of these guys? Wouldn't we rather have Brock Bowers? Wouldn't we rather have a stud defensive edge rusher than any of these guys? And I think the answer is probably yes. So that will be something we definitely want to keep our eyes peeled for. A little fallout here coming today as well with the trading of Jerry Jeudy to Cleveland. A lot of mixed feelings there of if that was a good move or a bad move. And Courtland Sutton tweeted out this GIF, which I thought was pretty hilarious. Not sure who this guy is. I just remember him smacking Chris Rock in the face. Just kidding. If you're just listening, this is a meme of Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, just like looking at his home and it's all empty. And he's like, I'm the last one left. So this kind of made me have a different feel about Courtland Sutton's future with the Denver Broncos, because if he truly was on the move, which I thought, and a lot of people thought, by him deleting Denver Broncos receiver from his bio in his social media, this makes me feel like he feels like he's being left behind. So maybe Courtland still ends up here. Depending on what we see with signing of free agent wide receivers, you could truly see a team who desperately was in the market for a wide receiver. If they're unable to get the free agent that they want, you see Courtland Sutton's value keep creeping up. We know Jerry Jeudy fetched a 5th and a 6th round pick. What is it that we need for Courtland Sutton? Clears cap space, helps us get younger, but I would be a little nervous to just be rolling out Marvin Mims and who else? I mean, little Jordan Humphreys. We got a couple guys to futures contracts, but I would like especially if we're going to have a new receiver or a new quarterback come in, I'd like to see some receiver talent there for him to work with. Just it's hard to make an evaluation if you don't have anybody to throw to. So all of that starts tomorrow. Super, super excited. Keep your eyes peeled here, and I will be bringing us the news, our opinion, and can't wait to be rolling with you into the 2024 NFL offseason starting tomorrow. So Broncos country, let's giddy up. Oh, man. That one was halfway down. You get 1 point if it's halfway down like that.